From your local election headquarters, this is Big Country Politics on KTAB.
Welcome back to Big Country Politics. We continue our segment with Lieutenant Scott Hill from the Abilene Police Department. We're going to be talking about the community response team. I want to ask you about the subject of mental illness, and as you mentioned earlier, it's kind of created a spike in the media, a spike in social media everywhere. How much of a priority is that to the Abilene Police Department, especially in terms of training, personnel, everything?
Well, it's a huge priority, obviously, so much so that we have created a team in order to assist in that. Just in my years as a police officer, I've seen a huge increase in the number of calls dealing with mental health. And
how much of mental health is a factor into some of the more violent crimes in the community of Abilene?
It's hard to tell. It really is. According to some of the media reports, there is an aspect of mental health in a lot of these crimes, but I do not have the numbers to go into depth on that particular question.
Absolutely. Specifically talking about training, how much more training is there required for officers on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, really on a daily basis, there's not a whole lot of the training. It's kind of almost experience. Going to these calls and learning what resources are out there for the officers to reach out to. Experience from other officers. You know, we do take critical incident training, which helps us deal with some aspects of people who are dealing with mental health issues. There's also some other agendas that we have attended just due to legislature that's come about in the past as well. So,
you said you've had a high volume of calls. When the crisis response team is having to juggle all of these situations at once, can that be a little too much for this team?
Right now, I don't think so. They're averaging about 12 to 14 calls a day. More than half of those are follow-up calls, which are very important. They will receive 2 to 4 calls a day that are emergency responses, whether it be, you know, from a police officer that's already on scene requesting their assistance, or dispatch will advise them of a call that they may need to go ahead and take a look at that may pertain to their specialty.
So, as I was discussing earlier, the gentleman that reached out to us to talk about his situation, he said his husband has these issues over a long period of time. He's having to constantly call the community response team, APD, incessantly. So is there a long-term plan for those people who are having to constantly make those calls?
Well, like I mentioned, the majority of our calls are follow-up calls, and they do that in order to try and prevent those ongoing, persistent calls from the certain individuals. I guess my reply to that gentleman would be to make sure that they are also, you know, seeking out to Betty Hardwick, making sure they're staying involved with their caseworkers there, and that if they need additional follow-up or more frequent follow-up from the community response team, he should pass that information on to the team when they do see him.
How would you describe a call that qualifies for the community response team?
For instance, say we have an individual that may have been off their medication for a while. They may call on themselves and say, hey, I need someone to come out here and speak with me or assist me. More often than not, it's going to be from someone else calling, maybe a family member or a friend, or just a citizen watching this person walk down the street. They're noticing abnormal behavior, something that affected could be dangerous to other citizens and or the client themselves.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us?
No, just to know that you know, we are seeking funding for a second team. There is a huge need for another team. We're looking at grant money for that, and hopefully it'll be up and running before too long. Another note is our jail navigators, who are kind of part of this system. We are hiring a second jail navigator that will be going in opposite hours of the first one, and that position should be starting up in about 2 weeks.
Awesome. Well, that'll do it for us for Big Country Politics. I'm Catherine Garcia. We've been speaking with Lieutenant Scott Hill today. Thank you for joining us.